Hello there guys, and welcome along then to round 13 of the GPVWC Supercup 2013 season. We are here at the punishing track of Magny Cours. We're here in qualifying, we've got 12 minutes to go, and after what has happened in free practice, we are expecting maybe something of what's been happening in recent weeks to happen once again, with Ranieri looking very strong. But down the rest of the field, times are as close as ever. And we had a few new names up in the top 10 actually in free practice. The likes of Centurion, FA, returning men like Kenny Leiber, for example, managing to make their way up into the top 10. It should be a very close qualifying session. And my name is James Kirk, and experienced in this and the race alongside me today is Lewis McGlade once again. And we're looking at Wyatt Gooden here at the moment, currently in P2, 3/10 behind Ranieri. We've kind of said he's probably going to get pole, but the battle for everything below him is quite close, especially with this second place contested over quite closely between Gooden, Sukas and Hardwick.
Yeah, a track like this and about 24 drivers, you can expect the qualifying to be fairly close. See, Wyatt's actually slightly improved over the second sector, and he's 1/10, nearly 2/10 up overall, so Wyatt's going very quickly. Wyatt has been one to impress overall. But it does look like Ranieri will be getting pole today.
Ooh.
Oh, Wyatt's lost it. He's dropped it. Which is a shame because it was a good lap. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see where it's going to go. I think you'll see an odd few appear throughout the grid.
Well, just to give... Oh my goodness me, and Wyatt almost taking out to Marler there. Goodness me. We'll give you a quick rundown of the top 10 as they are at the moment. So Ranieri's on pole by 3/10 at the moment. Gooden is second with, as I mentioned, Kenny Leiber making his return to GPVWC with FA Racing. Currently in the bottom two in desperate need of points. He's there in P3, and that'll be hugely encouraging for them. Fourth is Dawei Tapper, the Formula 1... Oh, sorry, the Formula 1?
Formula 1, wow.
Wow, that's a massive leap there. Formula Challenge winner, I should say. Multiple times winner. Didn't have such a good day in Formula Challenge yesterday, but here, he's fourth for Vodball, taking over Dan Rusu's seat. Once again, we keep on saying, you know, even though Dan Rusu had a good result in Spa 2 weeks ago, he's still under threat for the seat from Tapper. And so plenty to look out for there. Menno Klontz currently fifth for Motorforce with Sinjay Grimseth in improved form 6. Then, as I was saying, Centurion, currently bottom of the constructors with 13 points in their name, currently occupying 7th and 9th, I should say, at the moment, with Tuo Marler, another Formula Challenge guy, in 7th, with Tommy Koivunen in 9th there. We've got Roy Schroten in between them for CSG in 8th, and John McLean for Fox Racing again showing impressive speed in P10. So the likes of Oscar Hardwick's still hasn't gone out, Sukas, so on and so on.
Hardwick's
still
got
to happen.
P2.
Oh, there we go. He has indeed. Only 2/10 off provisional pole position, but still plenty to chop and change. We still have 10 minutes to go.
Yep, I saw someone had binned it at that chicane. The first of the two fast chicanes. I'm not sure who it was, but very easy track to make mistakes on that can bin your car. And then, I mean, in this kind of scenario, when you put your car into a wall, you can't really take it back out on track. Otherwise, you'll be given a 5th place grid drop at the next meeting, and it's an uncomfortable scenario for some of the drivers. You know, on a track like this, I know it seems to be a love or hate kind of track. You don't really have too many people sitting in the middle about it. But it is not a surprising name sitting in P1, you know, with Giuseppe Ranieri, followed by Hardwick, followed by Wyatt Gooden. That is not a surprising top 3 to me.
Sukas goes P4, but Innovision, his teammate Sven de Vries had a bit of a spin on his first hot lap, so the Innovision boys looking actually very strong with this new driver pairing they have. Sukas and de Vries, I believe both have had Super League experience as well this season. Looking to possibly make the move up. Rumours are that these two are being looked into and invested in at Super Cup level to possibly move up to Nordschön for next level, because Innovision, of course, is pretty much the feeder team for Nordschön in Super League. And currently these two both have had podiums in Super Cup, and both very strong drivers. And it must be said that I believe Sven de Vries actually took part in Formula Challenge last night as well, so he certainly gets around a lot, and hopefully he'll be able to put a good time in for this session as well. We have 7.5 minutes or so left as we are on board here with Sukas now heading round this second sector. Must be said, the second sector is dominated by two very high speed chicanes, and as myself and you found out yesterday in Formula Challenge, especially in the race, if you don't have the confidence in your car to do anything, you can lose so much time through it. It's unbelievable, and sometimes the car will stick, sometimes it won't, and Sukas pits there, presuming to fuel up again and get a couple of more laps in.
Yep, I see Brandon Moran has lost his front right wheel. It seems like he is trying to nurse it back to the pits. He's currently in 23rd, and you were correct, Spencer Reese did take part in the Formula Challenge yesterday, and again, you must have full confidence in the car to get a good lap around here, and clearly Ranieri does. But, I mean, those two high-speed chicanes at 7 and 8 and 12 and 13, they're just, you have to have this high level of confidence. You can't really attack them without it, without a good setup. Especially, you see Giuseppe Ranieri attacking the first one, 7 and 8, really, really harsh on the car. He's actually a 10th up throughout the first sector as he comes towards the second sector split. He goes around the 12 and 13, and he is up by 2/10 at the moment, so he's impressed. Oh, he's locked up a little bit coming up to turn 14, and I don't know if he's been the lap, but he's not really going to pull out a stonker of a time compared to what he could have.
Well, his top time in free practice was a 1:18.3, 7/10 clear of the rest of the field, and no one has really been able to pull out any big numbers. So there we go. He goes up another 2/10 to a 1:18.7. This might be his first of a couple of hot laps. It certainly looks like it for Ranieri. And with 5 minutes to go, it's going to be good to see whether anyone can challenge. Let's see, Wyatt's out on a lap, Oscar, Miko Sukas as well. Good shout out to Dawai Tapper actually, who's filling in for Dan Russo and Morten Wernerson in the Vodball team. As I say, he's very much in the hunt for a Supercup. He just goes into the pits, unfortunately. But to put up there in P5 is an extremely good effort from the Formula Challenge winner, and especially after the troubles which he experienced just yesterday. It's good to see him bouncing back. Top 5 in Supercups is a very, very credible achievement.
Yep, indeed. Wyatt, actually, whilst you were talking, Wyatt took P2. So Oscar's not going to be happy about that. Hardwick will be pumping in a lap right now. You see Swokus going quite wide at the turn, turn 4-5 hairpin? Sorry, I do have a track map open, but it's behind something, so I can't quite see it yet. But,
I saw Centurion in the wall there as well. I believe that's Koivunen. That's a shame.
Could be a few grid penalties post-race if people are re-entering after binning it, which I have seen a good few drivers now plant it through the gravel and into a wall. There he is, Swokus going 6/10 down currently on Giuseppe Ranieri, so he's pumping in actually quite a good time at the moment. Once here, it's not a terrible time. I mean, he is pretty much 6/10 down on Giuseppe at the moment anyway, so if he gets a really good third sector, then it could help him out.
No improvement for Sukas, unfortunately. But he's got 4 minutes or so left, and I imagine some of these drivers will have fueled up for maybe 1 or 2 runs. So 1 run into the pits, out you come again. And actually,
here comes Oscar.
Oh, here he comes indeed. Heading over the line now to not improve again. Things not looking too good. Has been experimenting with gearing over free practice. Difficult to say whether you should change your setup over free practice, though, simply because it might not be something that you are familiar with, and with that you lose confidence in the car, which is key around this circuit. I will say it's a real shame for Tommy Koivunen actually, because he was posting top 10 times and he's unfortunately languishing down there in P15. I don't think he will risk coming out of the pits again to get a 5-place grid penalty for next race and try and get further up the grid here. But he's definitely got the speed to get a top 10 here today. And I tell you what, Centurion really do need it at the moment. Them and FA, they just, points are, even if they're there.
Far between.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Koivunen multiple times in point scoring positions in races, and he bins it. And it's such a shame. FA just don't have the speed overall. And one must wonder whether this will make them even commit to Supercup next year, because surely if the points aren't coming in, well, then surely the team bosses will be thinking, why are we spending our time here?
Yeah, it's kind of going to be an uncomfortable situation for some of the teams over the next 6 rounds, the last 6 rounds of the season. John McClane went P7 with that time that you just saw. And speaking of FA racing, their driver Kenny Liebert is in 5th place, so he's showing off quite nicely, only 4.5 tenths off of Giuseppe Ranieri's time. So good stuff there from the FA racing driver.
Liebert, is that the correct pronunciation? I love it. I think it sounds... He is a Belgian, so that sounds much more credible than what I was calling him.
Why? What was your initial pronunciation of the
Liebert. Liebert,
Oh,
quite literally.
fair enough.
Yeah. Also, I think we'll go with your one. It sounds much more fancy. Apologies, Kenny, if I did get it right in the first place and I'm now completely going over the wrong thing. But Liebert sounds a bit more fancy. But yeah, as you say, excellent effort, and he has pushed down Dawi Tapper to 6th actually. So, 1.5 minutes left. Your top 10 currently is Ranieri leading by 2/10 to Wyatt Gooden, Hardwick, Sukas, Liebert, Tapper, De Vries, who's made his way up into P7, McLean, Schroten, and Klont there for Multiforce in P10. And that's very interesting on actually the battle that we have for 3rd in the Constructors. We'll go over that in free practice and see where everyone is in that. But my word, very good close stuff. Just to give you a good idea. Well, actually, tell you what, it wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be. And that's because Ranieri's put in a stupidly fast time. He's put in a 1:18.4 I've just seen there. 3/10 faster. He's now gone 5/10 clear of Gooden.
Oh, Oscar crashed into... Oh, that was a massive crash.
Dear.
Going down into turn 2.
Did he crash into someone else? I saw some other...
Yeah, there was someone sitting in the middle of the track.
And it was Wyatt Gooden now, I think. I see him off into the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go.
So let's have a look at what happened. I can't remember who it was.
It was Grimseth then. Oh, FA car. Oh, it's DeConnick, I think.
Yeah, Nico DeConnick, yeah.
Oh, dear.
That was a pretty horrendous crash. And just to top it all off from Oscar's side, Giuseppe is improving. He's a 10th up through the 2nd sector and goes quite wide after the final chicane.
Oh,
and
doesn't improve.
Doesn't improve. He went too wide over the final chicane, I think.
He will have...
Maybe lost time.
Well, he will have one more lap, though. Let's see who's coming around the corner now. So we've got John McClane pits. Next is Andreas Waters and Martin Bulgin, usually midfield contenders. Waters currently in 20th, Bulgin 21st. Waters does not improve. Bulgin does improve to 18th, though, so good job from the Scuderia Brasilia driver there. I am struggling to see who else on the hot lap. I see Menno Klont actually is, as is Kenny Liebert actually. Where is Ranieri on track? Yeah, so Klont, Liebert and Ranieri definitely ones to have a look out for. We'll have a look at Klont now, as I see someone has gone off into the grass there. Be a failed lap. Klont is absolutely pushing to the limit, using the track and a bit more to try and improve his time. He had a retirement last time out in Spa, which was a real shame for him, given that prospects for Multiforce were looking good. His teammate Patrick Gatewood has had a lot to contend with actually in Klont. I remember when he made his debut in Spain and nobody knew where he came from, but everyone's glad he's here now. A really excellent addition to the Supercup roster. And he is going to cross the line to go P7. Excellent effort there. I saw Maurice Bracan for Street Fighter had deposed him there at 10th. He goes up into P7. Kenny Liebert pits. And Giuseppe Ranieri pits there as well. So it is Giuseppe Ranieri. 3rd pole position in a row. And he'll be looking to get his 6th win in a row. Wyatt Gooden, despite his off, took 2nd place with Oscar Hardwick 3rd. Miko Sukas 4th with Kenny Liebert. On return for FA racing, bottom 2 in the Constructors, P5, Dawe Tapper, former challenge race winner, and very, very good Super Cup driver here as well today. 6th on the grid with Menno Klont 7th. Sven de Vries for Innovision is 8th with John McClane, an excellent effort for Fox Racing in 9th. And Roy Schroten on his return for CSG rounds out the top 10. And that is, we were kind of expecting Ranieri to take pole there, but I think Oscar Hardwick especially will be very disappointed that he's fallen behind Wyatt for this race.
Yeah, but I think we all know that Wyatt is an exceptionally quick driver, as it is, alongside people such as Oscar. It just seems like for the last maybe 5-6 races, Giuseppe's just had something over everyone. on the grid, and not by like a small margin, by quite a considerable amount. I mean, we saw in Italy them two being Giuseppe and Oscar dueling out a little bit over the first few laps, but after that, Ranieri just gapped Oscar and just went for it, and had quite a large gap when it came up towards the end of the race. He even had a spin, got back on it, and was still leading quite comfortably. So that's the margin that Ranieri has over the entire grid, and I don't think Oscar's going to be too happy with that, but I don't know how disappointed he's really going to be when push comes to shove. I mean, that was a good lap from Oscar. It's just Ranieri has something.
He has that star quality. Well, he has. It's not to say that Oscar doesn't have a star quality about him, but Ranieri's just got something supernatural in him. It's really difficult to explain where it's come from. People think that he's got a secret setup, like he's found the crux of the setup almost, which gives him that extra speed, but no one else seems to be able to challenge him at the moment. And I tell you what, this links in nicely with looking at the drivers, because we've been going on for a while now how even if Ranieri wins every race, if Oscar Hardwick comes second at every race until the end of the season, Hardwick would still win the championship, the drivers, by 3 points. However, we've just learnt today, in the musings about in the paddock with free practice, that Oscar Hardwick will actually be missing the round at Nürburgring, which to me basically puts the ball in Ranieri's court, and not just partially in the court. We're talking well over the other end, because if Ranieri could pull out another 25 points on Hardwick next round, then I think Hardwick's going to be needing a miracle to occur before the end of the year to be able to even think about the driver's title.
Well, one can only feel that with the Formula Challenge title maybe looking a bit more juicy this time of year, that the Supercup one is just kind of looking like it's falling down a bit. Ranieri just looks like he's going to start running away with it, and one can't help but feel that this championship may become, to be fair, slightly boring throughout the last few races when you're looking at a championship lead standpoint, and even if you're following a race-by-race winner, because it does look like Ranieri is going to be taking more than just the last few that he's had. But Oscar needs something absolutely special at this point if he wants to hold on to that championship. And to be fair to him, I just think Giuseppe has something in the car. I'm going to put it more down to setup, and that he has this phenomenal setup that's I'm also going to say it's gone a different way to the other drivers' setups, and that's why the other drivers can't quite find it, because they're not looking in the right place. It's one of these kind of scenarios where he's gone just a totally different route that may not have looked so good at the start, but once you've figured out all the little components of it, it works much better than another setup, and that's where Giuseppe's gained this time. Because I don't see this being down so much to the driver. I mean, yes, the driver also makes a huge difference, but you give Giuseppe a rubbish setup and he'll be at the back of the grid. It's the same as in Formula 1. If you give Sebastian Vettel and Marussia, he'll still be at the back of the grid. There's not much you can push to move out of that group. It is, there is a key setup that goes with this, and that's what Giuseppe has found.
I absolutely agree with that, actually. But anyway, for the viewers at home, let's just have a look at the drivers' and constructors' standings as they are. So the top 5, once again, 2 people are not contending in Super Cup here, and that's Walker in 2nd, who's of course moved up to Super League with Hawkeye, Loknovsky in 4th, who has very much sort of gone away from GPVWC for a bit to focus on real life. Oscar Hardwick leads on 191 points. Giuseppe Ranieri is 3rd on 158. The other man in the top 5 is Sindre Grimseth on 90, although I doubt he'll be there for long because his form since his win in Hungary has dropped dramatically. I believe he only qualified 15th here, which for a race winner, I mean, it's not really where you'd expect them to be. Looking at the constructors, CSG is miles ahead on 349, Innovision in 2nd, over 100 points behind on 236, and there's a lot reckoning that those 2 positions are probably locked now. until the end of the year, especially given the quality of driver there. The battle for third, though, very, very interesting. We've got Target on 180, Scuderia Basilia on 174, Satellite on 171, and Multiforce on 164. All very close. At the end of the day, I think that the main battle for third is going to be between Target and Scuderia Basilia, given that Satellite have now lost Ryan Walker. Multiforce just don't have the consistent pace to be up the front getting podiums. Still, to see that all those four teams that close still, very good for the championship. Then we've got Volpel and SRS in battle, 110 points to 97 points. PPD are kind of on their own now after their double top 10 finish on 60. And then we've got the two battles at the bottom. Fox v PB, only 1 point separating them between 40 and 39 points. And then, as I've said before, FA and Centurion at the bottom there, 23 points and 13 points respectively. They could realistically be looking at a huge points boost here to possibly put them back in that battle with Fox and PB.
They definitely have the pace here, to have a double points finish from the drivers in. To be fair, a double points finish quite, in the bulky part of the points, in the part of the points when you're going to get some really chunky points. I think that's what we could be seeing from, the teams if they get their strategy right. I think strategy is going to play a really key part in this race because, as we found out in Formula Challenge, tyre wear around here is quite significantly high. In reality, there's so many places where pushing too hard will make you lose it, and going across the gravel is an absolute tyre killer. And so, I think you'll see strategy play an extremely key part in this race, and it's going to be hard to see where things are going to go, but the driver with the right strategy could pay off with some really, really good points.
The predicted number of pit stops for this race is 3 to 4. And from the sounds of it, 3 was an extremely good strategy. Basically, you have the best tyres for that. And I think really it's only by having a 3-stop strategy that you'll even be able to think about beating Giuseppe at this track. But even then, at Spa, he had an extra pit stop in hand. And still managed to beat Oscar Harvick. So still, I'm sure that strategy will play a massive part. I think also consistency around this track will play a huge part. Plenty of accidents can happen. As I say, very high-speed circuit, very punishing circuit. And as Lewis also rightly pointed out, the gravel traps here are absolutely deadly. And they will ruin your pit stop strategies in many respects. If you're going for a 3-stop, then 1 trip through the gravel, and you're more than likely going to have to revert to a 4, unfortunately. So let me also quickly talk about the pit stops while we're at it. If you're new to Supercup, we have 2 tyre compounds here in dry races for these races. We have the soft tyre and the hard tyre. Red and yellow marks just like Formula 1. Harder tyres last longer but give you slower laps. Red tyres give you faster laps but last a shorter amount of time. And it's very much, I believe that the recommended strategy for here is possibly red, or 3 reds and 1 hard tyre stop. Don't know that yet. I haven't done much work with tyre wear because I don't drive Supercup cars. But I do think it'll be interesting to see whether people will be looking to go red at the beginning and then go straight onto the hard tyres until the end, or whether they'll prefer speed over the consistency of the yellows.
Well, if you can make a 2-stop work, it would. I think if you're doing a 2-stop, it could be soft, hard, hard. To make that 2-stop, I don't think anyone could do a soft, hard, soft like we've seen in some previous races. So I think soft, hard, hard would be an okay strategy if you can make it work. When you bear in mind that some people ahead of you may even be going for a 4-stop strategy. So, it's 2 trips through the pits. It's about it's going to be 30-40 seconds. And that's a lot of time. So, if you can get a 2-stop to work, then it's going to play in your favour. But you've got to judge how much time you're going to be losing doing one way or another. I think a 3-stop's probably the most balanced at the moment, but someone's going to try a 2-stop. Someone has to try a 2-stop. I would be pretty confident that someone will.
So this time, Lewis, that I'd ask you for your recommendation to the audience on who you think is going to win this race, but I think I've got a general idea of who you're going to say, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to say, obviously, Giuseppe Ranieri to take the win. I still think Oscar's going to take second. I think he has this racecraft and stuff like that will enable him to take second. And looking at Wyatt's time, I think it's going to be a battle between Wyatt Gooden and Miko Svokas for third place.
Interesting. I would have said that Wyatt and Miko will be much closer to Hardwick. I think he's going to have a hard time this race. He's been losing a bit of motivation since Giuseppe's been on this a 2-win streak, I should say. Actually, no, I'd lie, 5-win streak. He's had 3 pole positions now in a row, and it seems like he's just lost all motivation. I believe that he is actually confirmed to be moving up into Super League next year, but well, it's a shame to see him not motivated. He just doesn't want to do it anymore, purely because of the domination that Ranieri has, almost like a second coming of James Shepherd in a way. Far too fast for his own good.
Yeah, I mean, for a driver, that can't feel good to know that someone is breathing down your neck, especially when you're going to be missing a race.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
It can't feel good for his championship charge at the moment. So I do feel a bit for Oscar, but he needs something special at the moment.
Right, the drivers are lining up on the grid now. Hopefully we won't have a red flag again like we had at Spa last time out, because then that causes all sorts of controversy and no one likes that. But we're going to be in for 45 laps of what will be hopefully great entertainment for us. I can tell you right now, these drivers are going to be feeling it by the end of it for certain. So, on pole position, it is Ranieri leading us off for Scuderia Basilia with Wyatt Gooden on his return to Super Cup. Second with Target Racing. We then have Oscar Hardwick, championship leader, P3 with Innovisions, Miko Sukas in fourth. Kenny Libert on his return to sim racing in general for FA Racing is put in a stonking 5th position, with Dawe Tapper, contender for the Vodbull race seat next year, P6. We then have Menno Klont for Multiforce in P7, with Sukas' teammate Sven de Vries. He's just said he's only just woke up, so hopefully he's awake to do this race. He's there in P8. John McLean, impressive qualifying for P9. Not the most of consistent drivers, as he said though, so keep an eye out for him and whether he might crash or not. And then rounding out the top 10 will be Royce Troughton on his return since holiday for CSG Racing. Maurice Bracan cruelly denied a race start last time out after a connection failure. He starts 11th for Street Fighter. Multiforce's Patrick Gaywood starting P12. Morten Versen for Vodbull will start P13 with a much improved looking Centurion team starring Mikael Tuamala starting P14. Sindre Grimseth, his form dips even further for Target Racing starting in P15 with Tommy Koivunen in P16 for Centurion also. Nico Jaconic will start P17 for FA with Martin Bulgin, Ranieri's teammate, there in P18. Mark Wicks will start quite a low P19 actually, quite a shame for him there, with Sven Schubert also equally disappointed to be in 20th for PB. Andreas Waters will start P21 for Fox Racing after coming back after his Super League team Halcyon unfortunately had to dissolve. We then have the 2 satellites of Brandon Warren and David Nichols rounding out near enough the back of the field. Unfortunately the man who is there is Calvin Hermes for PBD, no Andres Pestovs, and after the highs of a double top 10 finish, PBD have been brought right back down to earth and they'll start with 1 driver at the back there.
Yep, well, they're all lining up on the grid. You have 24 cars about to take part in 45 laps here, so hope for a good race. Fingers crossed we're going to see a nice fight for the lead.
Fingers crossed. As I say, I hope we don't have I hope we don't have incidents at all. I'd like to have some good fun racing without getting stuff. There we go, the back of the grid has lined up. And we look now to the lights, they come on now. 3, 4, and 5 lights, and here, Magny Cours, 45 laps are go. Once again, a terrible start by Giuseppe Ranieri. Saw the speed at Spa and Oscar Hardwick and Miko Sukas. Oh my god, they make contact into turn 1 and straight up into the distances. Oscar Hardwick just about keeping Sukas at bay. Look at Ranieri though, he's right in the background there as well. Are there any incidents? I don't think there are. Good on them, but Miko Sukas has come out of this on top. Look at Ranieri though, he's siding through the field. Maurice Bracan for P11, he's up there as well. There's almost 7 wide going against turn 2. This is going to be trouble, or is it? Oh my goodness me, everyone's stopping in time. Just about, goodness me, but after all of that, Rainieri now leads. Oscar Hardwick on his inside. Miko Sukas just behind there as well. Hardwick will have the inside into this. Goodness me, Oscar Hardwick having to mount the curbs. And after all of that, my word, that was a start. Rainieri leads. Sukas second. De Vries has got past Hardwick. Goodness me, a bit of bashing there. But De Vries up into third. Hardwick down to fourth. Derry Tapper fifth. Menno Klont battling with him in sixth. He's down to fifth around the outside. And oh my goodness me, Wyatt Gooden, who's lost a lot of places. He's down there at P7. Maurice Bracken up to P8. Kenny Live in ninth. Patrick A P10. And I'm absolutely exhausted, Lewis.
Yep, an exciting start. You said there was actually a couple. Sven Schubert is currently Michael Schumachering it around the track with only 3 wheels. We have had...
Oh, spin! Sven De Vries has spun Oscar Hardwick. I apologise for cutting you off there, but Hardwick has been spun by Sven De Vries there. Is Sven De Vries going to wait? I think he's going to the pits, indeed he has. And Oscar Hardwick pits as well, so dearie me. Well, I see there are...
Yeah, Oscar's retired.
Oh dear.
That is not good. I think what happened was Oscar and Sven De Vries shared the same pit box. Oscar couldn't pit. Oscar's had enough. That is pretty much what it looks like now. So not very long. 5 retirements out of 24, and we're just on the second lap now. So it's not been good so far. It is excellent though for Rainieri.
Make that 6 retirements. That's Nico DeConnick, Roy Schroten, Brandon Warren, Martin Bulgin, Oscar Hardwick, and Mark Wicks out already. Sindre Grimseth in the pits, Morten Wernerson in the pits, and it could not work any better for Rainieri if he had tried. He leads from Miko Sukas, Wyatt Gooden there, Menno Klont now in 4th, Dowie Tapper 5th, Maurice Bracan 6th, Kenny Liebert, he lost a lot of places, but he's actually in 7th, Patrick Gay with 8, Miko, look at this, the 2 Centurions now into the top 10, Tua Mahler leading, Koivu is close behind. Andreas Waters, he said his highest finish was Spa, his home race in P11. He's already up there. David Nichols, the man who's retired the most times this season, he's in P12. So that's going very well for him. He's just ahead of John McLean. Calvin Herms are there. Sven De Vries 15th. And I tell you what, Lewis, I believe, 2 more retirements and we will already have, basically, if they get to the end, our points finishers. And I do wonder why we haven't had a red flag, actually, because that was 5 accidents in 1 lap.
Yeah, but it wasn't one incident. It's like multiple separate incidents. I can see that not being a red flag scenario, really. I mean, we've lost a lot of drivers at the moment. I mean, how many is it? 7 drivers. So that is so many drivers, but it's debatable whether that should be red flag because it wasn't one incident. But I think that's going to be a matter of opinion. Sindre Grimseth, though, down in P17, so his race evening falling apart. He was one that pitted, wasn't he?
He's 1 lap behind already. Actually,
yeah.
Is he? Yeah, but he is indeed.
Yeah, he is indeed. He is.
That's a shame. Oh, look at that. Late red flag.
There has been, red flag,
okay.
Red flag.
That's interesting. Right, so, I don't know. This is very interesting. We've actually had multiple people get involved in this decision. It was a delayed decision at most, but it's been decided that this red flag on lap 3 is going to happen, and this is kind of what I was thinking. There were enough retirements out on lap 1, which is usually, I mean, we usually look to 5 regardless of whether it was 1 incident or multiple incidents. If there have been 5 retirements out on lap 1, that's usually where we red flag, and it's been a delayed decision. And I think this is definitely much more controversial than the one that happened 2 weeks ago at Spa, because everyone got to lap 3 at this stage. Everyone thought they were safe. And I can imagine that there's going to be much more people here not happy than when it was 2 weeks ago, because at least that was an instant decision. Here, debatable stewarding, possibly.
Well, it is a good job that you lot sitting at home cannot see the chat at the moment, because it's not a pretty sight.
No.
You know, you are going to have so many people, not happy with this decision. Giuseppe will be quite happy. Correction. Giuseppe won't be happy because he had the dream start. Not too good off the grid, but post that, a few corners later, you've got Hardwick out, he's leading, it's all looking good for Giuseppe. I think one person who will be very happy is Oscar Hardwick, who that is a real godsend for Oscar at the moment. And should hopefully put him back in it, provided things don't go too wrong from now on. But he is still in server, so it looks like he will be racing again.
David Junt puts forward the very good point that we had a red flag the Monaco Grand Prix in 2011 for Super League after 5 laps. I believe that was the longest debated red flag. So this is by no means the longest at all. It seems all right. But I tell you what, it's very much Coulthard v Schumacher in Spa 98 situation in the paddock at the moment between Sven de Vries and Oscar Hardwick. Threats all around, swearing. It is not a pretty sight. And yeah, everyone, oh dear. I thought that we might be able to have a better start than Spa, but it seems like it's just receded a bit, unfortunately.
On a track as tough and tight as this, I was expecting a good couple of retirements in a first lap. You always generally get it in this event where you've got a few retirements. To be fair, it's very rarely clean. But this is the 3rd race that I can remember, maybe 4th, that I can remember in Supercup where there has been a red flag, which is not good. I mean, it's a bit silly, I think.
Attention, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
It was all separate incidents, really. So it's going to be debatable from some people in the paddock, and I guarantee you there will be some opinions floating around as to why something happened. I mean, I've already had some ideas or people messaging me about opinions, and I don't think this is going to go down very well with some people. But nevertheless,
furthermore, sorry to cut you off. Why goodness said he can't race now. So because of the restarts, he won't be able to even compete in this race.
That's a bit of a strange thing as to it's only 3 laps longer. I mean, if you have a long race anyway due to wet rain, then surely that would enable that to not be the case. But that's people, busy people. We have busy people here. But nevertheless, they all start their warm-up lap once again, and some people will be very heated in their car. And if we had race engineers, and I would not want to be a race engineer for pretty much anyone on the grid at the moment, because it would not be comfortable.
All parties were annoyed, weren't they? Renier was annoyed because they had to restart. Hardwick was annoyed because he got taken out by De Vries. De Vries was annoyed because he didn't think he took Hardwick out, and I believe there was an earlier incident in which I saw De Vries overtake Hardwick. It was a phenomenal start, though. I mean, Bracan, he started P11. He was up into P4 at one point, and then he fell back a bit. And actually, the likes of Kenny Lieber as well. He starts P4 now instead of P5. He had a terrible start. So perhaps he can make amends here. But then again, we look at Ranieri. He had 2 terrible starts in Spa, and I think it's just the way that his gearing works. And possibly Lieber has gone for similar gearing in a long first gear, which helps you in the acceleration corners here.
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, I don't know if you've ever tried starting a car. I did it in Spa once with long gears in Formula Challenge, and it won't get away from the line initially, but theoretically the benefit from it after that as Oscar locks up, heading into the one of the final corners there. Yeah, the longer first gear may pay off eventually. For someone like Giuseppe, I think is a gamble worth taking, because it seems to be working for him. His setup seems to be working. If that's part of it, it's obviously working well, but he needs to nail the start.
Right, Morten Wernersen starts from the pit lane. Not sure whether that's a good sign. Okay, I'm not quite sure how this has worked, but Ranieri is miles ahead of Hardwick here. Doesn't matter, the red lights are on, and whatever's happened, Radio's going to have a massive head start here as we are away once again. Hardwick straight past Ranieri, so Sukas. Lieber has a much better start, and once again Ranieri gets swamped down as we head down into turn 1. Oscar Harwick leads by a country mile. Liebert tries to go around the outside of Sukas. Sukas defends well though, he's still in P2. Ranieri looking to get back on these guys now. We have Kont, De Vries, Bracken, Schroten, Tapper there. McLean also. And Oscar Harwick's had a much better start here. As we head down into turn 3, Liebert defends from Ranieri. And Ranieri not having... oh dear, he has been blocked here a bit. Liebert up into second though. Sukas is there as well, and Ranieri's going to have to slot in. He's not going to be able to do much unless he can make a look into... No, he can't. Into this far chicane. Ranieri being held up here, and especially around this circus. He makes a dive towards Sukas. This is going to be a brave move. Sukas trying to hold him around the outside, but Ranieri has much better traction. He's up into P3, and he's only got Liebert to dispose of now, but Hardwick, much better start. Even from starting that far back, which is a bit bizarre. I think the game just messed up a bit there.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, but still, it was a poor start again from Giuseppe. Great start from Oscar, but I think Giuseppe's going to have an advantage. Now, it looked like John McLean had is not... The car doesn't look very good. I don't know what it is, but either way, he's down in P21. Morten Bernersen is on track. He's just heading up through the second of the high-speed chicanes, and I have just seen that Ranieri is past Liebert. So Ranieri is up into second place. That is to be expected, to be fair.
Hardwick leads by about a second or so. Markwicks has already retired for Street Fighter, unfortunately, and it's such a shame for John McLean. I mean, he puts in a good qualifying performance like that, and then he loses it again. He just does not seem to have the consistency with him. And who's that falling down the order? Is that... Oh dear. I think that was just a bit of chopping and changing rather than anyone falling down the order. But let's see, the gap between Hardwick and Ranieri is now 1.2 seconds. And actually, fair play to Kenny Liebert. He is keeping with Ranieri. Yeah, I was expecting Ranieri to fly off into the distance. And in fact, I think it is through this second sector which he really starts to pull away, but not necessarily looking as dominant as I was expecting him to be.
No, we will have to keep an eye. It goes a little bit wide through that chicane there, but Liebert up is in third, so you know, good stuff there from Kenny Liebert. He's made full advantage of the restart. I don't think he'll be too irritated that there was a restart now, because you know, he's improved. Place and, he's doing really well. We're about to finish this current lap and see the gap between Ranieri and Hardwick is now down to 0.865 of a second. It's dropped quite significantly. As Giuseppe's fastest lap. What's this?
There has been a crash here, and I see Nico DeConnick in there. Grimseth is out. His poor form continues, and Tommy Koiven, and he's gone again as well. So that's a real shame for Centurion, who were looking for a double points finish. They just lost it at the final wall, I believe.
It's a shame there. That is a shame. They all... Oh, yeah, Sindre Grimseth just ploughed straight into the wall, and now that was not a pretty sight, to be fair.
Right, we're back up to the front, and Ranieri...
Yeah,
Ranieri's just putting him in once again. I mean, I do apologise to the folks at home who were hoping for a good battle for the lead here, but unless Hardwick's managed to get a stop over Ranieri, then I don't see much feasible chance of him winning this race. Ranieri just looks so much faster, and he's right onto the back of him already. It's this sector 2, he's just got it absolutely nailed. Yep,
as you can see on the screen from this fantastic camera shot, you can just see, especially through that second sector when we start riding on board with Oscar here, you know, looking across the rear wing, you can see so clearly how much of an advantage Giuseppe Ranieri has. I mean, look at how close they are now. Giuseppe's at the fastest lap of the race once again. There is 3/10 between the two of them now. As we head through the first sector, as Giuseppe's about to look for a move.
He's definitely going to look for a move into turn 3 though, isn't he? I tried something similar through there, and indeed, look at this. His gearing is just much better, and Ranieri, once again, takes the lead of the race. He's going to be looking for his 3rd Grand Slam in a row. Behind him, however, there is a battle kicking off between Liebert and the two individuals of Sukas and De Vries. Sukas currently leading his American teammate, and certainly looking like the much more potential threat here. Kenny Liebert, I think, as you say, rightly happy with his restart. In the first race, he was down in P9. Here he is in the podium position. But I do wonder whether the rustiness is going to get to him here. And Sukas is looking like the much better driver. The Finn and the American, the two individual boys, as I said before, both have Super League experience already. And Kenny Liebeer, goodness me, goes wide as Sukas is right alongside him. He is into P3 on the straight. Kenny Liebeer hold on the inside here. I don't think he is. Sukas is now going to be on the inside of this corner. Oh, wow, well defended by Liebeer. Really good stuff. He was able to just plant his car in the right place, and Sukas will have to go on to this lap, now under threat from his teammate potentially.
Yep, just to update you, we've had 3 pitters already. You had the PPD Motorsports driver of Calvin Hermser, and you had both satellite drivers of Brandon Morin and David Nichols. They all pitted. And Calvin Hermser is on the yellow harder tyres. Brandon Morin has been in the pits for a considerable long time, and Nichols cannot pit because of it. So that is unfortunate. Clearly damage there, and it's not worked out very well for Satellite.
As long as he finishes the race.
Indeed.
I think that's all he needs to do. He might very well score points. Back up with this battle for P3 though. It seems to have spaced out a bit. I think Sukas is definitely the faster of the 2 Innovision drivers here at the moment. It's usually the case with these Finnish people that they're reasonably fast. And I think, well, once again, it seems that this second sector is the one that really defines these drivers the most. Because we can see here Sukas really catching Liebeer hand over fist, and once again right onto the back of him. I think Liebeer though is rear wing. We don't see it much on the FA Racing car. It says leave me alone, and I'm sure he will want Sukas to be doing that very soon. But he seems to have the advantage in the first and the third sectors, which ultimately make up the majority of this track.
Yeah, it's we discussed this quite a lot. If you make a setup purely for sector 1, then I think you're more at a disadvantage, because the common misconception is that there's only really one major overtaking opportunity, which is into Adelaide, aka Turn 5, the hairpin at the top of the hill that we are currently going up. So it is a common misconception, because that is most certainly not the only overtaking opportunity. There's a number throughout the track. So if you make a setup for sector 2, for example, you'll be pretty good throughout sector 3 as well, and I think that's where you have the most advantage. And it takes a brave driver as well to attack those sectors consistently again and again and again for 45 times. But those that do should have a significant advantage.
Right, I'm just having a look. Let's have a little look at the.
Oh, Giuseppe spun!
Oh, hello, he has indeed. Oh, dearie me, and is that Liebeer? Oh, that's blocking Rainieri. Rejoin safely. Dearie me, did he lose it on the exit? And does disadvantage Liebeer now? So Sukas is looking to go past once again into sector 3. Liebeer holds on very well, and dearie me, Rainieri off the track there, and he's under pressure now. Hardwick, this is the godsend he was looking for, and look at all this is doing is bunching up these 3 now, and De Vries once again is onto the back of his teammate Sukas. And dearie, Sukas giving him a nice bit of room, but De Vries looking, there's just no way past. But I think that was a very haphazard rejoin from Rainieri, because he deliberately put Liebeer at risk though.
No, I'll be fair to him, the car was spinning and he didn't have too much control. It was coming out of the second high-speed chicane, and he spun it on the exit. He went slightly over the gravel with the front tyres, but I don't know how much that'll affect him. It was very short. But the spinning car rejoined back into the middle of the track. There wasn't really too much Giuseppe could have done about that, so I will be fair to Giuseppe about that.
Right, well what this has done actually is Liebeer's been able to hold on to third, but Sven De Vries has now taken his teammate Muko Sukas for fourth and fifth. I imagine that will quickly get readjusted if needs be. I'm sure that the Innovision team will not be wanting any further fights between their drivers. Maybe they'll think, if Sukas couldn't get past Liebeer, why don't we give Sven a try? And he certainly looks to be catching Kenny at a rate of knots. But Rainieri once again 2 seconds behind Hardwick, and I don't think Hardwick's going to be ahead for long at this rate, but he's got a bit of a lifeline here, certainly.
That is one hell of a lifeline, to be fair. Kenny Liebeer, though, great defending, to have kept that position even after he'd been disadvantaged quite heavily. I do think that Sven De Vries is actually going to have a little look for a move now, James.
Oh, he certainly is. He's going to look to the outside, though. Kenny Liebeer, you're right, his defence is top class, really top class. Look, there we go. Can De Vries get the cutback? No, he can't. This is really good defending. Fair play to Kenny. He's been away for quite a while from sim racing. I believe it's the better part of a year, 2 years now, but showing that he still absolutely has it, and this is potentially one of the transfers of the season for FA. This is excellent.
Yeah, he seems to just sort of like not be parking it on the apex, but he's putting it on the apex. He's forcing the car onto the apex of the corner, which means that Sven has to go wide. It's really interesting tactic of defending. Quite a lot of drivers tend to go with it, but Kenny Lieber is completely making it work. He's just putting the car into the right place, but Sven is going to have a little look. Oh, he sees the...
He almost did
Yeah.
exactly what he did. And hello, who's that out there? Roy Stroten is out once again, so that's a real shame for the Dutchman on his return, his second retirement in as many starts here at Magny Cours. Kenny Lieber once again on. Interesting. Sukas. Oh, dearie me, Sukas, and that's going to allow Tapper through, is it? Maybe not.
Oh, no, sorry. Never mind. I just saw a replay.
Yeah, Sukas just went across the gravel. It was weird. It was almost like he caught the understeer of the dirty air of De Vries, and I think he was trying to let De Vries through because I think maybe Sukas has picked up damage. But dearie me, De Vries not looking happy there at all. And hello, Tapper's on the inside of Sukas. No, it looks like Sukas is just going to keep ahead, but he's got to be mindful of Tapper. Very prolific overtaker. Hasn't had to do it much in Formula Challenge to date, but he will do it when he needs to.
Yeah,
and hello.
that one time.
Oscar Hardwick's been off. Oh no, Oscar Hardwick has been off, I think, in sector 2. And he's been overtaken, not only by Kenny Lieber, but oh dearie me. He's been overtaken by Sven De Vries, and I think that things are going to get very hot and bothered in a bit if their tempers are still up.
Well, we're just having a look at what happened with Oscar. He comes into the turn 9 hairpin. And... oh, okay, right. I think he got onto the power too early, and the car just shot over the... went off the track on the left, but Oscar's fast. He should be able to get past Sven De Vries and maybe Kenny Lieber. If he can make the move stick now. Look at how much he's closing. We'll just have to keep an eye on that.
I'll say Kenny, once again, had excellent defence into sector 3. I think Sven's faster. But as you rightly said, I think Kenny he's having all the luck fall his way this race, because now he's got Hardwick behind him to possibly make Sven De Vries think twice about what he wants to do.
Yep, indeed.
Once again,
Kenny defending brilliantly. He's going to have the inside through this 7-8 chicane, this high-speed chicane. So, who's is Sven De Vries going to have a little cheeky move through turn 9? Let's just keep an eye. He's not going to. Kenny Lieber is just defending absolutely excellently.
Really good stuff. Got to keep an eye for Hardwick though, and also I'm going to keep an eye on Renieri as well, see whether he spins again, because we've had 2 at the front runners spinning now. What's to say that they can't spin again? Perhaps they're pushing too hard for this.
Yeah, but good news. Well, not good news for Giuseppe, but if Giuseppe were to spin again, then Kenny Lieber would be leading.
Oh, excellent.
that would be something interesting to see. Someone with a defending talent such as Kenny Lieber at the moment, from what we've seen. I'm sure he'd be able to keep Giuseppe behind.
Oh, that'd be excellent. Love it. And don't keep out Nico Sukas and Dawe Tapper there. They are not far behind this battle for second now either. Wow, this is turning out to be a much better race than I thought it was going to be, Lewis. I'm telling you now. Heading up onto the back straight now. There's going to be Slipstream at work, and Hardwick, out of all those people, will want to make up some time. But he's got Sven De Vries to get past, and these two are not on good terms after the first attempt at this race. Nothing doing into turn 5 or 4 there, I think it is either. But Miko Sukas there, he's about 8/10 behind. You've got Dawe Tapper about another 8/10 behind. And one spin from any of these guys could cause a domino effect, which sees people move up or possibly even collect others.
Yep, if someone spins at the moment, it is going to be really detrimental to the rest of the group behind, because this group is actually really, really close. It's the closest group, and from what I can see on the track at the moment, we've got a couple of close drivers, but this is quite a large duel, to be fair. And it is really nice to look at. I will point this out, as I think Giuseppe's tyre saving at the moment, because he's not gapping Lieber very much at all. And this won't be good for some of the people behind Lieber, because their tyre wear could be a lot higher with the constant attempts of attacking. So this is not going to go very well for Oscar, I think.
Out of the way goes Nico Desonic, Lieber's teammate, currently languishing now a lap behind in P15, so he's still in the points, bless him, is Nico. But look at this now, look at Suk, he's put on a bit of a charge. four-way battle for second. We wouldn't have been expecting this at the start. But here goes Sven de Vries now. He's going to look to the outside of Kenny Liebert. Up into this hairpin. Oscar Harwick's going to look to the inside. My word, that was a dive. Thankfully, no one comes out of that harm necessarily. But Kenny Liebert, once again, defender supreme. The Belgian on top form here this evening. And he needs to be to keep behind this guy. Of geese, the American, the Englishman, and the Finn. All looking to get more points for their team. Oh, there's a bit of a hello Sven, I'm here sort of move from Oscar. And look at this, he's going to be looking to the outside of Sven de Vries. Surely he can't do that. And indeed he can't, he pulls back in, but he's got to watch out. Miko Sukas is right on the back of him. Another little hello, I'm here in the wing mirrors goes Oscar Hardwick. Heading up into Sector 3 now, and Kenny Liebert, you can see the effect this has on the battle. Because Sven de Vries is now trying to fend off Oscar Hardwick, Kenny Liebert is given a bit of breathing room here. Hardwick, though, equally, he's a sandwich in an Innovision. Oh, hello! He was in an Innovision sandwich. Miko Sukas becomes our first pitter. He has called it, and it'll be interesting to see whether anyone wants to cover him. He goes up to the option tyre, okay.
He does. So he's 3 or 4 stopping, I think. He's definitely, I'm going to say he's 3 stopping at least. He's going for a long one. But about the Oscar Harwick looking at, no, it's just Sven de Vries going on the outside of Kenny Liebert, who's been defending that place absolutely perfectly every single time, and he keeps doing it. Great stuff from Kenny Liebert.
It's wet, rinse and repeat, isn't it, basically?
Yeah.
You've got Sven de Vries going on the outside. Oscar Hardwick looks to try and take de Vries. De Vries covers Hardwick, and Liebert manages to cover all of them. It's honestly a phenomenal drive. But I do wonder whether we'll see a pit lane race here with these three, because clearly Sukas has pitted. He's come out in P7, and oh, hello, who's that off into the gravel? There's someone. Just saw a massive load of smoke there. But yeah, who's that? It's Andres Waters, I think. But basically, what we're seeing here is effectively the battle for second bit. Miko Sukas has a clear lap now. Let's see who pits. Liebert. Oh, interesting. None of them pit. That's very interesting.
And Giuseppe did the fast lap of the race, 1:18.8. We did have a 5th retirement, which was Nico DeConnick. He is the 5th retirement of the race so far. Morten Bernsen up into 14th though, so good drive for him from the pit lane.
Absolutely. In fact, that's a phenomenal drive for him up from the pit lane. 2 points. Oh, here we go again. Sorry, Kenny Liebert. Oh, I think de Vries might have it this time. He's well ahead on the straight. Kenny Liebert now attacking into, and he still managed to defend it. Unbelievable. De Vries has a better drive though, I think. And I think this might be position gained for Sven de Vries, and indeed it is. Finally, after laps of trying, we're thinking 12 laps or so of trying, Sven de Vries, the American, makes it past, and Damien Oscar Hardwick almost had a look at Kenny Liebert into the hairpin as well. And this is not going to be helping Hardwick at all. He needs to get past Kenny as well. And Sven de Vries, well actually mind you, Sven de Vries hasn't exactly escaped Kenny. I mean, look at this, Kenny right on the back of him already as we head into Sector 3 now.
I think Kenny's been on the pace of Sven de Vries at this moment. I mean, there's 7.2 seconds between Sven de Vries and Giuseppe Ranieri, so I don't think the lead's going to be changing anytime soon. He's almost on the way of getting a pit stop in hand. But Kenny Liebert's been defending that position well. One thing that I will point out from looking at Formula One and even Super League is that when someone has been defending for so long and they drop a position, they tend to start dropping a couple after that. So Oscar may be looking for a move. We'll just have to keep an eye on him as he heads up onto the overtaking opportunity of Turn 5 at Adelaide. So keep an eye on Oscar.
The lead now that Giuseppe Rinieri has on Sven de Vries, mind you, is 7.5 seconds already. So already he's pulling off into the distance. However, I'm interested to see what sort of pit stops we're looking at here, because Miko Sukas seems to have pitted extraordinary...
Nichols.
Oh,
went off,
David Nichols. Yep, that is him out as well. That is a shame. That's another retirement on the driver card of David Nichols. And, well, half expected really at this point. He just seems to lose it every race, unfortunately.
Yeah, but the way he's done it is quite, to be fair, easy. Been there, done that, binned it in that wall. And that is the wall on the outside of the 7 and 8 chicane. It's such an easy place to drop it.
Kenny Liebeer locks up into the final, and here we go.
He
Kenny
locked,
Liebeer
okay.
hits. Everyone else goes round though. I'm just having a look
I'm
to
on it.
Menno Klont now. Menno Klont goes round again, but I reckon Sukas is going to be miles ahead at this point.
Kenny Liebeer, red.
Okay, so he's on to options as well, but look at Sukas there. Sukas is already passed. And I think that Sukas has called a bit of a masterstroke on this. If he's doing the same amount of stops as everyone else, he's going to be miles ahead, because let's say the pit lane is 20
12
seconds or 12 seconds or so, okay?
12 seconds.
Right, so Sven de Vries and Oscar Hardwick are going to be cutting it very close with him, actually. And look at Douwe Tapper, actually, mind you. Tapper's caught right onto the back of Oscar Hardwick here.
All right, I'm actually going to be fair because I didn't count the first sector of the next lap. It's 15, say about 15 seconds, 15 and a half seconds is the pit lane. So Suokas is actually, I would say, he's battling for the lead, but he's only 6 seconds off of Giuseppe. So he theoretically, currently, is in second.
I think, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
I
Also,
wouldn't say he's
Liebeer's not too far behind Suokas at the moment. So, yeah.
No, he isn't. And the good thing is he is on the fresher tyres now as well. So Renieri's in. Renieri's in. As is Sven de Vries as well. So Oscar Hardwick and Douwe Tapper go round again. Renieri leaves the pit lane already on
red
tyres. Yep. And de Vries, I believe, also on red tyres.
Sven de Vries is actually on red tyres. Yep.
Yep. So yeah, Sukas. Here comes Sukas and Liebeer. This is the battle we were thinking about. And Sukas goes past. As does Liebeer. So here we go. Liebeer retakes, theoretically, third position on track ahead of de Vries, but Sukas is the one that's really benefited here. Up into, theoretically, P2, we have yet to have Douwe Tapper, Oscar Hardwick and Menno Klont pitting.
So there you go. That is what pitting early here has helped with Sukas. But, we don't know what strategies everyone is actually on. These have all gone onto the reds. I'm wondering, is anyone going to go onto the yellows on their first stop? I kind of get the feeling that Oscar might, because I think Oscar's going to do something different with his strategy. He's got Douwe Tapper behind, and not too far behind, to be fair to them. Oscar goes a little bit wide at the turn 14. Was that one. We just have to keep an eye and see if Oscar actually pits this time. But Oscar is currently the leader for you now, as you can see on your screen.
Let's see now, he's just coming up to the pits now, and Oscar Hardwick pits. Douwe Tapper does not pit though, interestingly. So Douwe Tapper...
Oh, I was right! Boom! Oscar Hardwick onto the yellows.
Okay, that's interesting. Menno Klont doesn't pit either. Here comes Mikko Sukas though. This is the battle we're interested in. And Sukas has passed Hardwick here. What about Kenny Liebeer? He's going to do it as well. As is Sven de Vries. So Hardwick has lost out here. But has he really? He goes onto the hard tyres. He's trying something different. And we'll see whether his alternate strategy pays off in the long run. But fair play to Douwe Tapper. He's only a couple of seconds ahead of true race leader Renieri here. But he's leading a race. And Formula Challenge winner, this could not be going any better from the Finn.
No, but I will apologise. That's very unprofessional of me.
No worries.
I'm gonna put it towards now that Oscar Hardwick's actually going to be doing a 2-stop strategy. He's done 16 laps on the softer of the 2 tyres. Or is it 16 or 17?
We're on lap 18 here, I believe.
Yeah, so he's done 17 laps on these soft tyres, which is really, really good. I don't think he'll be able to take these harder ones to the end. I think he's going to absolutely rinse them.
And go onto the hard tyres again, possibly.
And then go onto the hard tyres again. Unless he's going to be saving them a bit more and then actually doing the red, yellow, red that I didn't think anyone would be doing. But Oscar's looking quite good. Ooh.
Tapper's in, Klont's not in. Klont is going round again. And he is making these tyres last a very long time. I'm not sure, he's on the red tyres, isn't he?
What, Tapper?
No, Klont.
Klont is on the red tyres, Tapper goes onto the red tyres as well.
Right, so Tapper's gone to a similar strategy as everyone else. Actually, where is Oscar Hardwick?
Okay. Tapper.
Oh dear. Well, this was kind of expected, given that he is on the hard tyres. But look at Sven de Vries here. Sorry, Sven de Vries, so P4 and 5. He's trying to look for the same move that he did on Kenny Liebeer, and in fact, he's already passed. So Sven de Vries retakes that position from Kenny Liebeer, who's forced onto the outside. But does Liebeer have a... Oh my God, does he have a better drive? It's going to be very close. Look at this. He's going to be side by side heading into the chicane. And yeah, Liebeer on the outside sort of had to lift. Is he? Oh my goodness! Is he going to have a look into this? Oh my word! He dives up the inside, and can he get the drive out of this corner to get Sven de Vries very close? But de Vries just about holds it. Great racing from these two as we head up into the second fast chicane here of Sector 2, and I think de Vries may very well have it there. Indeed, yeah. This is very interesting from Menno Klomp though, who's lasted ages on these red tyres now. Will he pit now? Yes, he does pit. So Menno Klomp pits there. And so, we now have our reaffirmed order. Giuseppe Ranieri leads from an inner vision-filled podium now. Mikko Sukas leading from Sven de Vries, Kenny Lightbeer, P4 with David Tapper P5, Oscar Hardwick on an alternate strategy, keeping station in P6 with the hard tyre. Menno Klomp is out on...
he's out on red. I'm thinking Tapper may have a little bit of damage. He just smashed the wall on the outside of the final chicane. Also, apparently, Tapper could have gone a lot further on those tyres. They had to pit because he was going to run out of fuel. Liebherr having a little look on Sven de Vries there. But yes, that is the message on the down low. Is that Tapper didn't have to. Tapper had to pit because of fuel, not because of tyres. I don't think tyre wear is quite as high as first predicted. So this may play in the favour of Oscar.
Not for Tapper and Klomp, I think. I think what Tapper and Klomp what they may very well do is they might go red hard. So very much an opposite to Oscar's strategy. But the fact remains, I mean, we were expecting 3 to 4 pit stops here. Looks like more likely it's going to be 2 to 3 actually.
Yeah, we're just going to see who's going to play in the favour of. I get the feeling this won't really play in the favour of Giuseppe unless he's going to gap everyone like he is currently. So you never know. This is Giuseppe we're talking about. He's probably going to have a pit stop.
Oh! Hello, who's that? Oh, we got a crash! Kenny Lightbeer went into the back of Sven de Vries there. Into the final chicane. I just caught the end of that. So apologies. De Vries lost it out of the final chicane. Lightbeer collected him. So Oscar Hardwick, what?
Yeah, we are just with the
see it on
replay coming up to the final chicane. Yeah, he's just That was it was quite unfortunate. There wasn't really too much that Liebherr could have done. It's a good job that no one was behind Liebherr at that time, because that would have cost them quite severely. But that was not a pretty sight, to be fair.
Oh, de Vries' car is massively damaged as well. He's going extremely slowly. So what this has done is this has massively benefited Tapper and Hardwick, who are now up into 3 and 4. I think de Vries is just trying to nurse it back home to the pit. Because he's going extremely slow. Still in P7, but he's allowed Menno Klomp through to P6 now as well. Klomp and Tapper looking very good here. I should say Tapper, Hardwick and Klomp. If these three can make it work, the 2-stop, and Ranieri has to stop again, if they are able to keep within range of the Italian, then they might be in a shout for a race win here possibly. Well, not maybe Klomp. I think he's a bit too far behind at this stage. But Tapper and Hardwick, absolutely.
I'm looking at the time difference and how fast Giuseppe is gapping. I'm going to say Hardwick is. I wouldn't say Hardwick's particularly out of it. There's 16.454 between him and the lead of Giuseppe Ranieri at this present moment in time. However, Tapper is in that zone where we're like, that's within a pit stop. Someone who else is within a pit stop is Suokas, but actually something that. No, it's all right. I'm just thinking a bit sillily at the moment. But Liebherr actually stays out, so Liebherr doesn't have. Well, he may have damage, but he doesn't have that much damage. I'm going to shut up now because everything that I'm saying is absolute rubbish.
That's not true. You're spilling loads of thoughts, I like to think.
Wonderful. That's one interpretation of it.
It is indeed. Anyway, yes, I think Liebherr. I think he was very lucky there. He didn't lose any parts.
Yeah, I would.
Which is good. And so looking for a good finish here for F8 at least. So we are here on lap 22 of 45, almost halfway through already. Can you believe? We'll quickly go through your top 10 for you. So it's Giuseppe Ranieri leading by 8.2 seconds from Mikko Sukas. Must be said though, the gap goes very to and fro. I don't think Ranieri's pulled away. Let's have a look over this final split. He has pulled away over this lap, so the gap's now 8.5 seconds. David Tapper's currently in third on what seems to be a very interesting 2-stop strategy. He's gone red, and he'll need to go. And again, as Sven de Vries just comes out of the pits. Oscar Hardwick is fourth, but on an alternate strategy. He's on the hard tyres. Liebherr, fifth. is on the same strategy as Ranieri, and we presume Sukas, who was the first pitter of the lot. Menno Klont also on a very conservative strategy, we feel. Same as Tapper and Hardwick, he's on the red tyre. Sven Schubert's in 7th, so another good drive from the PB guy there. Patrick Gatewood from Motorsports is in 8th. Mikael Tuamala, he's in there for Centurion. Good drive from him. And Maurice Bracan, staying there in P10, the lone street fighter left in the race. Oh, no, he's got white! Oh, wow, and he caught some air and he's not lost his front wing. I'm surprised. He did,
Oh, yeah.
He did a bit of a stoppie there in the in the gravel, and that, well, that's going to ruin his tyres for a bit. And who else is that off? I think that might be Waters, yeah, so no worries.
Yeah, Andreas Waters was off. Andreas Waters was a lap down, though, I believe. But that wasn't a comfortable scenario. But Mikael Tuamala, he is the only other person I can see in the top 10 who are on the yellow-walled tyres, the hard with 2 tyres. So I think Mikael Tuamala's on a bit of a different strategy that should hopefully pay off for him, but we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Ranieri really starting to put the foot down now. He's 9.5 ahead of Sukas over the last lap. Let's have a look at the gap between Tapper and Hardwick. Definitely increasing, it must be said. There's now 3 seconds between the two. If anything, Leiber is starting to catch up to Hardwick even after his spin. Klont sort of in a race of his own. And actually, let's have a little look. Let's have a look at the battle between 7th and 8th, between Sven Schubert, Patrick Gatewood. This is a nice little battle shaping up. Sven, I think, he certainly showed well in Monza, but then decided not to turn up to Spa, which was a real shame, because he seems like a potential little star for the midfield, does Sven, putting in another solid drive once again alongside Patrick Gatewood, who, I mean, you can always rely on Patrick to get you home a good result, constantly in the top 10 and constantly giving you more points to help out, and that's why Motorforce is in the position which they are in, which, oh my word, Sven De Vries,
that was a lunge.
Not De Vries, sorry, Schubert, heavily locking up. Gatewood tried to lunge, as you rightly said. Didn't work out though, the positions stay the same, but good to see these guys battling nicely and cleanly as well.
Yeah, I think Sven Schubert will be one that is extremely happy that the race was restarted a good few laps ago, because he was one that paid off for him. But what you are owing is Sukas is actually in the pits. He's come out onto reds.
Right, so he's gone red, so that means he will have to stop again. He is going for a 3-stopper. And more importantly, he actually comes out ahead of Kenny Leiber.
Yeah, but about to lap his teammate Sven De Vries, who's on the yellow wall tyres, although I don't think it's particularly important anymore because Sven De Vries is a lap down.
Well,
I'm sure when he was lapped by Oscar, there were many things going through his mind. Also, Sukas is being held up there, and Leiber got past.
Oh dear. I thought that was going to be a bit of trouble because we actually had 2 battles going on then. Not only did we have Leiber and Sukas battling for position, we also had De Vries and Warren battling for position as well. And Kenny Leiber just came out the best out of that.
Okay, that's interesting. What we just saw on screen was difficult to get over. I think there's going to be a not very happy Sukas there, who's going to be probably making a peel at the end of the race. Tuamala is out.
Oh,
that's a shame. That is a shame for Centurion because Tuamala is out. That could have been some really good points. He's just lost it coming around into turn 3. He's just lost it and gone straight into the wall. That is really unfortunate.
It's the definition of Centurion season. The definition
going well
of it.
And then just falls
losing
over.
it.
Wow, that is a gap. Damn, have you seen, well, of course, because Sukas is pit, but Ranieri to Tapper, my word, 17.1 seconds, and that's P1 to P2.
That is a pit stop in hand.
That is indeed a pit stop in hand at the moment.
Yeah, and, actually, mind you, oh no, but see, this is where this is the difficult thing, because Ranieri's on the red tyres, but Tapper didn't pit on to the hard tyres. If Tapper had been on the hard tyres, then I would have thought, maybe he has a chance, but, well, it's not looking good, is it? It's very much a repeat of Spa. Ranieri just has nothing wrong. Well, he had a spin at the start, obviously. He had a terrible start in the first place with his gearing. But after that, he's just off into the distance. It's Sebastian Vettel, 2011, all over again, but with an Italian in the place of a German. It's
one would agree. It's not It's not that I don't respect him. I respect Giuseppe Ranieri absolutely massively. I respect anyone on the grid these days massively because especially since I've started driving in Formula Challenge, you respect these guys a lot more, especially someone with the talent of Giuseppe Ranieri, who's been absolutely destroying the field. Because I can't imagine how hard it is because I can't even get close to that. And Giuseppe Ranieri is gapping everyone hugely every single lap. But it's the same as what happens in other leagues when someone starts to dominate. Is that although some people try to avoid saying it, especially commentators try to avoid saying it, but I will now. It's boring. It is really, really boring when a driver starts dominating because there's no unpredictability with the championship. And ooh, that was Circus going a bit wide over at turn 7 and turn 8. Did cost him a position, but it probably cost him quite a bit of time on the lap. But yes, it's quite irritatingly boring when one driver dominates so much, which is why this championship was looking really interesting about halfway through because you didn't know who was actually going to take it. That unfortunately is seeming fairly obvious these days.
Well, it was looking juicy up until Oscar Hardwick announced that he was going to miss out the Nürburgring round. We basically we need, no disrespect to you at all, Mr. Giuseppe, but we need you to retire just once, just once, so that we can have an interesting championship. Either way, I must say we should recommend that you keep on watching these races. We still have brilliant battles for the lower positions. We just saw the battle for P2 was amazing up until was it De Vries lost it, unfortunately. But you know what? We're still only on lap 28. We still have a good 18, 17 laps or so to go. You never know. Disconnections could happen. Spins could happen. It's why we love racing.
This is why me and yourself take part, and why we all enjoy it. Because there's you never really know what's going to happen, and as commentators we can make predictions, but you never really know. One thing that I wasn't expecting was, to be fair to Tapper, was not to see a Doway Tapper into P2, and what looks to be a fairly comfortable P2 at the moment. It does look like he will be able to secure this. Actually, if he visits the yellows next, he should be able to have a nice second place. He'll have to defend from Oscar.
This is the thing, though. He'll have the soft tyre, though, won't he, Oscar?
Oscar will, yes. But to be Doway Tapper has had the soft tyres over the hard tyres, so I don't think there'll be too much dip there. And we all know that Tapper is an incredibly fast driver, and he's gapped Oscar 6 seconds since them two came out of the pit. So things are looking good for Tapper. If not for a second, it looks very secure for a podium at least.
Lovely in the long term as well. I mean, it's really interesting, this Vodball debate, actually, because we've seen Wernerson, Rusu and Tapper more recently star in the car, and after seeing Rusu take 6th place in Spa, and Tapper, I believe his results were 9th.
Oh, we've had an accident. I'm not sure what's happened. Maurice Bracken is round, and Morten Wernerson had to go off the track to avoid coming down to the final section. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but that's what happened.
That is what happened indeed. And Morten Wernerson from the pit lane, let's not forget, is now up into P9 at the expense of Bracken, who has John McClane not too far behind him, actually. Actually, no, is he? Where is... Alright, so he is not too far behind him. It says on my screen McClane's been lapped. That's because he has been. But Ranieri is just behind Bracken there.
Indeed, with short laps like this, we can see a number of people being lapped. But good news for what your little statistic that you sometimes bring up is that if everyone finishes this race now, they will all score points. There's only 15 runners left. So that is the way it's going to work out.
Question, has Hardwick pitted?
Hardwick has, recently?
Recently.
Or, he pitted once that one time.
Yeah, he's under attack from Liebherr, that's why I'm asking. Oh, he's lost it! Oh, no! Oh, he's collected Liebherr. Has Liebherr got damage there?
Hardwick certainly does. Oh, Hardwick's spun in front of...
That was damage on Liebherr's part, I'm sure of it.
I'm sure Hardwick has damage as well. That is a shame for Hardwick.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you can... actually,
Liebherr's definitely got damage. He can't turn... He's bending over to the right.
Yeah.
Oh no! Yeah, he's got a puncture.
Hardwick's constantly is constantly turning left. He's got some severe suspension damage. If anything, it's this race has fallen apart for those two, which is so unfortunate.
God. Yeah, look at that. It's almost certain Liber's got a puncture. Goes off into the gravel. That won't do him much good. He's going to have to try and... No, well...
Wow, that's an interesting line. That's like the lines I was taking when I was practicing around here.
Right, so what... who's that into the pits? That's Sukas into the...
Sukas is in third. Sukas is in third.
Who went into the pits? I'm
Just
interested.
Oh, more
Verneson! Oh, God, he's round! Where's Bracken? Oh, Will Verneson. I think Verneson's safe. Who went into the... Oh, it was Bolgin who went into the pits.
Yeah, Bolgin who
God.
went into the pits.
Just when we say this race was getting boring, it suddenly turns on its head. Unbelievable. Oscar Hardwick. Where is he? They are in...
Okay. He's in the pits.
Yeah, they are in the pits. Oh, and Verneson spun again! Oh my God!
Is something wrong with the car, one would wonder.
He almost... Oh, dearie me, I think that might be a double putt. Oh no, that was just him spinning up. Right, so Maurice Bracken up into 9th, McLean up into 10th. Oh, where is Liber? Liber, amazingly, is out into 5th. So he is not too bad off. And this is... Well, Oscar Hardwick...
Oh, we've had another spinner. We've had
who's that?
Maurice... Oh, no,
It's Brandon Warren there, yep. Just saying though.
Oh, Maurice Bracken has retired.
Oh no. Let's see, hold on, let me just... 45 times 0.75. He needed to be on lap 34 to score points. So Bracken will not score points, unfortunately. And just maintaining my point, Hardwick has now been lapped by Ranieri.
That is unfortunate. Also, from what I've heard, is that Morten Verneson, no damage on the car. It was just a driver error twice. So unfortunately for Morten, he did drop position to someone who DNF'd. So it's not gone too well for Morten. But his, I have heard that also starting from the pit lane was his choice to try an interesting strategy, which
It's working.
This works him up into 10th place. And I did just see someone dropping a position.
Sven Schubert.
Okay, yeah.
Right, I think after all that excitement, we should go through everyone who's still going. I think that might work. That was crazy. Right, so Ranieri leads by 20 or so seconds from Dawe Tapper. Miko Sukas back onto the podium in 3rd. Menno Klont in 4th. Henny Liebert, after all of that, still in 5th. Patrick Gaywood up into 6th. Then Schubert 7th. Oscar Hardwick still going in 8th. John McLean in 9th, just ahead of Morten Verneson. Sven de Vries is still in 11th, bless him, so he's still going for good points. Martin Bolgin 12th. Brandon Warren will be up into P13. And Andreas Waters up into P14. The last runner here today. Both of them are 3 laps down, though.
Yeah, I'm just going to point this out, is that the interview room after this race, depending on who we have in it, is going to be one hell of an uncomfortable place. I'm getting the feeling.
Yes, I imagine...
That's not going to be fun.
It's going to be like Malaysia 2013, pretty more all over again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, no one's really going to be happy apart from... Well, actually, mind you, I reckon Ranieri, Tapper will be ecstatic, surely.
Yeah, so Tapper's got to be happy. I mean, he's done a fantastic job to put it into 2nd at the moment, and to have kept it there for as long as he has. But it's just one of these situations of any driver that's happy, there's obviously going to be another who isn't. And I get the feeling that there is going to be a few comments on other driving styles, especially in the forums after this. Giuseppe Ranieri has pitted. John McLean pits as well. Giuseppe Ranieri comes out on the yellow wall tyres. Not a shock at all. Sven Schubert's actually pitted as well. This is a large number of people pitting. John McLean goes onto the red. Sven Schubert onto the yellow. But yes, Giuseppe Ranieri re-enters in the lead on the yellow wall tyres. And Tapper is 7... Oh, no, that can't be right. 7 seconds.
He is 7 seconds behind.
Where the pit lane timer is and everything like that, I'm going to say it's actually about 5-6 seconds behind. Yeah, 4.9 seconds behind, so that's the gap between Tapper and Ranieri at the moment.
Tapper's on the red tyres, isn't he? He's gone red.
He is, so he is not close.
He could have one stopped. I'm thinking.
Ugh.
Because, I mean, look how far he's gone on 2 sets of red tyres,
One would
34
assume
laps.
he would be able to one stop, but he didn't, and that's a mistake on his part. When you think about these strategies pre-race, you sometimes don't take into account that in the race, tyre wear may not be as high as you first thought. It may be even higher than you first thought. That's the same thing as what happened in Formula Challenge yesterday when driving around. Is that the tyre wear in the race was nowhere near as high.
No.
As I thought it was. I could have gone a good few laps longer than I did, but quite a lot of the times you want to stick to a set strategy as opposed to just winging it, because that's when mistake can be caused with strategy. We don't have race engineers here. We don't have someone else who's got a mind somewhere else to think about these things. Logically, we have to just go for it as much as we feel. We can't look at the gaps behind, specifically, unless you've gapped everyone massively like Giuseppe does. But that's the case we're in at the moment.
Alpha P8 and P9 is juicy. Morten Bernardson's just got past Sven Schubert into the first hairpin in sector 1. Oh, Sven Schubert locking up massively there. Morten Bernardsson up into P8 now. Very good drive.
Yep, indeed.
Overall, it must be said, it's just a fantastic day for Vodbull in general, really, isn't it?
Morten Bernardsson from pit lane up into 8th place. Good drive from him. Douwe Tapper in 2nd, which looks to be a nice second, because the two people behind him who could be challenging for position, which is Suokas and Klon, have not gone to yellow wall tyres like Tapper. The only person who we thought would really be able to go for Tapper is Hardwick, who is currently down in 7th place. Also, we've got Sven Schubert, Morten Bernardsson pits. That's why they were switching about a lot. I'm going to assume Bernardsson's going to go on the reds.
Oh, Tapper pits as well.
Oh no, Morten Bernardsson goes onto the yellows, so Tapper is going to have to queue. Tapper's queuing.
Oh no! Oh, what a shame. They share the same pit garage. Who's behind him? Mikko Sukas has gone past anyway. Where's Klont? Klont's just coming round. He's just going onto the straight now. So I think, there's going to be close between Tapper and Klont, actually. And actually, thinking about it, Sukas doesn't have to pit again, does he? So, second place has been demoted to 3rd. Menno Klont, though, I think, still has to pit himself, doesn't he? Because he's on red.
Does Suokas have to pit again? I thought he he'd been onto the yellows.
Is he on the reds now?
He's on the reds now, yeah.
Yes, no, you're right then. He does have to pit again.
Yeah,
My
okay.
apologies, yeah.
But Tapper, that was unfortunate. I mean, I don't know if they're in.
Sukas almost lost it. Sorry. He
Okay.
didn't in the end.
No, I don't know if Tapper and Morten Bernardsson are actually talking to each other currently, but if they are, that was just a miscommunication. I think that's unfortunately cost Tapper quite a bit of time. Hopefully, there was enough time between Tapper and Suokas to not cause a specific issue, but things will unravel and play themselves out. We'll just have to keep an eye on Tapper at the moment.
Sukas pits. Sukas pits.
He does indeed. I think Tapper's actually got this.
Yeah. And well, what about Klont as well? Does Klont pit? No. Interesting. I mean, I would have. Oh, hello. Actually, Sukas. Oh, hello. Sukas is coming out ahead of Tapper. Oh, goodness me. Close.
That was quite close, and this is the time that Tapper's been cost in the pit lane, which means that Suokas is going to be all on the back of that gearbox coming up into Adelaide. But I think Tapper's got the advantage at the moment. Oh no, but Tapper's gone locked up and gone wide a little bit. This is going to
no!
This is going to be close. I think Tapper's got the advantage. He had a better drive off that corner as well.
Just about. I would have said Menno Klont's in with a chance as well, but remember, he has to pit again himself, does Menno Klont. I think he's pretty secure for P4 there, because Kenny Liebert is a good further 30 seconds ahead of him, behind him, I should say.
But a battle for second, and hopefully until the end of the race. It's going to be very, very interesting. Tapper's tyres are up to temperature at the moment, and that is quite a tongue twister.
Indeed it is. And also, Oscar Hardwick's up into P6 as well, I should mention. He's got past Patrick Gatewood, who I believe is pitted for his final stop. So he's up into P6, but still, so much promise gone to waste, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look like he's lapped at the moment, so that's a plus for Oscar at the moment.
Yes.
No, it's not. But it's gone wide as well. So things just not going Oscar's way. I think he's just so irritated in that car at the moment that he's down in 6th place, and this championship, unfortunately, from now on looks all but. Well, you never know, but it looks fairly sorted. But I'm fairly sure that people said that in Formula 1 in 2010, and look what happened there. But that's just the way we have to live these things out, is making wild assumptions, as you do.
Very irritated man in general, I think, is Oscar Hardwick. I mean, those who tuned in to watch the WSS race, a lot of controversy after that, a lot of worry about disqualifications, even cutting, and to be honest, such has been the discussion over the penalties to be applied that the full penalty list yet has to appear, and Oscar Hardwick, one of those who is controversially possibly going to get a penalty. As I say, we're not too sure yet, but in general he just doesn't seem content at all. The only series he seems to be content in is World GT. And there we go, Magny Cours hits there for his final time. But this is not a good time for Oscar Hardwick, I don't think, and well, I certainly don't want to be interviewing him straight away after this race at least.
Yeah, sorry, Oscar, but that is the case. I think when that interview happens, I will be in the toilet. But keeping an eye on Sukas, he's keeping on the back of Tapper, which is something which should have been predicted. Really, they've actually been fairly similar pace throughout the race so far, and Tapper should have more of a gap, but for that pit stop error. That's unfortunately cost him quite clearly about 7 seconds, which is very unfortunate, because that should be a nice, secure second place, but it's not at the moment, and this is the thing of what we've discussed many and many a time. This is the thing with sim racing, is that you are dealt a card, and it's how you play with those that depends on your finishing position, and Tapper's been dealt a good one so far, maybe a couple of duds in the pack, but he's coping well. He's Tapper, he's coping well.
The leader, Giuseppe Ranieri, is now on lap 40 of 45, 5 laps to go, and although we presume that he'll be off into the distance winning his 6th consecutive race in a row, presumably his 3rd Grand Slam in a row with fastest lap as well, the one battle we watch with interest now is this one, the battle for P2 and P3. One man who has been on the podium before, one man who has won many races in the league below, but has yet to shine here in Supercup. Certainly doing it this race, and Dawei Tapper, if he can hold off Mikko Sukas, the Finn, these are two Finns battling actually together. If he can hold off his brethren in country for the next 5 or 4.5 laps or so, then this will be his first podium in Supercup, and will really make sure that he announces himself on this stage. We think it's almost a certainty that he will be promoted in some way or another to Supercup next year, whether it be with Vodball or with someone else. But he has been the star of the show for me here today.
Yeah, Tapper has so impressed after an awful day yesterday with, I think, double retirement. I don't know if he retired from the second race, but I do know that he was outside the points because I was just behind when that happened. But yeah, Tapper's not had a fortunate racing week really, and now he's gone into his rhythm with the Super Cup cars, and what happened in GB when he ran out of fuel before the end cost him some points, but he still gained some overall. But Tapper has really shown something special here today with in a podium secure location at the moment. I think this is definitely a podium unless something goes wrong with Tapper. It's just whereabouts on the podium he will be finishing, on the left or on the right.
As we're on lap 41 here, we'll look further down the order to see where everyone else is ending up. Menno Klom's on for his best finishing position. Sukas, he's gone over the curbing. He's gone over the curbing there of the outside of the first chicane, and that will have lost him a bit of time. Not too much so, I don't think. But anyway, let's look at the other people before I get distracted. So Menno Klont looking for his best result of the year in 4th. Really good strategy paying off here. Kenny Liebert on his return got caught up in not 1 but 2 incidents, and he's still in 5th. This will be FA Racing's best result of the year, and will move them miles ahead. Oh god, this goodness me, almost slipped there. But yeah, moving them well ahead at the moment of Centurion. A further 10 points. Oh, hello Tapper. Oh, what's happened to him?
Oh, well, we're just going to get a replay, I think. Just to see what happened. Here we are coming up into sector 2 into 3. He had a huge look up into sector 3. And here we are, the final chicane, the one that we thought a lot of problems. Oh, wow, he did well to not clonk into that wall. He went over the curb on the right-hand side of the chicane, and it just kind of pulled him across. And I think me and you have both done that a fair few times. The only difference is that I slam into the wall. Tapper's far too good driver to do that, though. Unfortunately, though, Tapper did drop that position. But kept the car pointing the right way and is in 3rd place now, so still a good drive.
Oh, and hello, what's happened to Kenny Liebert? Oh no, Kenny Liebert's at the pit again! Oh, he's handed Oscar Hardwick 5th! Not that Oscar will be any happier with that.
No, I still wouldn't be too happy to be part of the post-race interview, but not too long to go now in the race for Oscar, and I'm sure he will be wanting it to be over, as we only have 3 laps left, and Giuseppe Ranieri has almost a 25-second lead at the moment. That's a huge lead, and one that we have seen Giuseppe take on a number of occasions. He's got another pit stop in hand. I do remember a story of an old Formula One driver who pitted because he had enough time left in the car behind, just to have his car clean, so it looked nice as he crossed over the finishing line. Giuseppe did go a little bit wide there through the right-left of 7 and 8, but has kept it going the right way. But I mean, if he wants his car clean so it's nice and shiny, now is the time to do it. He's got enough of a gap to the car behind.
There are words to describe that. I won't use them on the broadcast because they'd be too foul. Even at this time of night, but dearie me, that is it's something.
Yeah, I can't remember
something
who the
for
driver
certain.
was.
I don't think Renio's a nice guy, though. I don't think he'd do that, to be honest.
Or just have his car clean.
Dearie me, that'd be well, there we go. You can have your car cleaned if you want, Giuseppe, but yeah, as I say, I think he's far too. He's much more of a. He's a nice guy. He would never do that, I don't think. But anyway, let's focus. Who else have we got? So Patrick Gatewood, solid 7th again. Doing well. Sven Schubert, 8th. I believe that's what he got in Monza as well, so at least consistent. John McClane, he's up in 9th. This is his first finish, I believe, in 5 races, I think. So I mean, a 9th.
It's good going for him then. It's good going.
Morten Bernsen, 10th from the pit lane. Excellent job. Sven de Vries had a major incident, still in 11th. Martin Bolgin, 12th. That's good for him. Andreas Waters, points in 14th. Brandon Warren will be scoring his first points on me in Supercup if he finishes.
Yeah, and considering we were wondering how well they'd be doing, would Satellite be doing with Brandon Warren replacing Ryan Walker? But, I think they're coping well as a team, missing a key component. And Warren was one that I'd said to watch closely. And in Spa, unfortunately, the race kind of fell apart for him. But, this time he's actually shown some sort of consistency and he's actually finishing the race in 13th, which is some decent points. But Giuseppe Ranieri starts the final lap of the race. The last time he'll be seeing these surroundings before we move on to Germany. And this is more points in his favour in the title hunt.
It's funny, because you can see that he's not pushing. I mean, I'm looking at the gap now to Sukas. It's now fallen dramatically to 18.5 seconds. He's just easing it round. He's got that time gap.
Why push and make a mistake?
Precisely. I mean,
why push and make a mistake when you can have your car cleaned?
Another 2 seconds gone in this sector. I mean, Yeah, he's just cruising.
Yeah, but as I said, why push? You may be struggling
Why? Yeah.
to be fair, but why push and risk it to crash into a wall when you can take it home securely on this final lap on this tricky circuit, which requires a very specific flow. You know, you don't want to risk it. Just finish the final lap, bring it home, and take the win.
Why not? And well, it's going to be the third consecutive Grand Slam for Giuseppe Ranieri. Is this the final major turning point in the season? We will have to wait as the Italian once again on top here at Magny Cours. Another dominant drive from the Scuderia Basilia driver, which will help him and, well, not only himself, but will take Scuderia Basilia up into third in the championship. Mikko Sukas, a very good second. Dawe Tapper, star of the show, third for Vodbull, and putting himself once again in the lead contention for a Vodbull seat next year. Menno Klont comes home to finish in his best result this season, fourth for the Multiforce driver. Oscar Hardwick, well, he's a sector behind, and it's what could have been for Oscar, and without a doubt his anger must be compiling from the controversy of Spa in WSS to this now. He's just got no motivation, and fifth place for him, although a fantastic result for other drivers, will not do him any good. Kenny Liebert, the final of the people on the lead lap. Fabulous result for him on his return in P6. Could have been so much more though. In the early stages he was contending for a podium. And well, although we would have loved to see Kenny on the podium on his return, I think he'll be happy enough with another 10 points to start off his, or to restart his GPWC career. The other top 10 finishes were Gatewood in 7th, Schubert 8th, McLean 9th, Furness in 10th, and our final point scorers were De Vries in 11th, Bolg in 12th, Warren in 13th, and Waters in 14th. No 15th place finisher, because Maurice Bracan, who was in that position, retired before the 75% mark. Therefore, he has no points.
Yep, post-race for the other forum, this is going to be quite uncomfortable. We're going to have some admins looking over that quite closely, I get the feeling. But for the 40 people who finished, great drive. I mean, this is, as I said, a very tricky circuit. It was tricky yesterday when we had 42 drivers driving around it. But
oh, is that why? Okay, we're just hearing from Dave Carl-Smith that Ranieri, just apparently he had his screen freeze on him multiple times during the last few laps. So it wasn't necessarily that he was cruising. He was genuinely hampered. Oh, and also, can we have a quick look at the camera view to the Fox Racing cars?
Yes,
on a wonderful
I was going to say that. I was just about to say that.
Wonderful display here from the Fox Racing drivers. Another double points finish for them. We'll put them neatly ahead, or we'll see them pull further ahead, I should say, of PB Racing. But John McLean doing some masterful backwards driving there. Oh, I love the Fox Racing guys, always good fun.
Yeah, that was interesting driving. I'd like to see someone do that in Formula 1. Come on, Kimmy, get on it.
Anyway, okay, so Oscar Hardwick has reconciled with Kenny Liebert at least, so at least those two are still friends. Saying he might take a break, and well, we already know that he's taking a break from Nürburgring. I think, unfortunately, with unless Ranieri has an awful couple of rounds, I think it's very hard to bet against him as the man to win this championship now.
Yep, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. So
all I can say, sorry,
I'm gonna leave you to take this, James.
You always do, don't you? Thanks, sir.
I do. I do.
Right then, okay. So, in the room for interview, we have Oscar Hardwick for CSG, Sven de Vries for Innovision, and David Junt, team manager of Scuderia Basilia. And I'd like to take this opportunity now to please remind everyone that we are live, so no swearing, no arguing, please. Let's try and make this as easy as possible. So, let's start with Oscar Hardwick. I think you put into words perfectly what I think everyone was thinking, you need a break. We know you're taking definitely Nürburgring off. This race just didn't fall for you, did it? I mean,
No.
incidents throughout.
On that second start, I can't go pointing fingers at anyone. I was the one making the mistakes and cost myself any podium there. I haven't had the pace here or at Spa, so it's half just a lack of practice from me, and also there's people further up the grid and whatnot that seem to be getting a bit of help with the setups, and that's not necessarily unfair or anything along those lines, but it definitely gives you a big jump, and I've sort of lost the hang of these cars a little bit and fallen back, and I don't know, the recovery to 5th was alright, and it gets points for the team when we could have otherwise had a much worse day in comparison to points to Innovision. First start was a bit of a farce. I know that you don't want any arguments or anything, but certain drivers need to screw their heads on the right way, and if they're on track next time out or in any other series, I'll be quite frankly disgusted for the mannerism that they showed today. But it got the restart after so many people retired, and I think everyone called their heads off, and even me and Sven got close to each other on track in the second race and gave each other room. It drove properly, acted properly, so it was obviously the second race was a lot better, and the mistakes were just on me.
I think that's actually very genuine of you to say. I mean, obviously, I think there's been a lot of people sort of consoling that Ranieri's far too fast for the Super Cup necessary. Almost, I likened him to the second coming of James Shepherd almost.
Well, I don't think he's hacking, so that's unlikely.
Well, let's keep your opinions. Well, there are opinions, but the fact of the matter is his pace is extremely, extremely dominant for this league. I mean, I'm guessing that the championship that you and Roy will now be focusing on, presumably, is the constructors. As you say, Innovision got good points today. Not as good as it could have been, but presumably you'll come back after Germany refreshed. Do you think that you'll be able to make that push nice and easy for the constructors' title at least?
I think the constructors' title's already in an incredibly strong place. Even if we've lost a good amount of ground today, we are in a very good place in terms of the constructors. And Roy had an unlucky day. Magny Cours not an easy track, and there's a few curbs there that are just designed to put you off. So it will come back, and I'm sure that there'll be a more than adequate replacement for me at Nürburgring. He'll probably do a better job than I can do. And probably the likes of Pedro or Dave Viddock. So it'll be interesting. I'll come back and we should be able to wrap up the constructors. But I'm not resigned to losing the Drivers' Championship yet, but I think that the advantage that Pepe's managed to get on myself in terms of pace pretty much confirms it now.
Thank you very much for taking the time to come and talk to us anyway. We can imagine the emotions running through your head and stuff. So take your break, sir. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Well deserved. We now move on to Sven de Vries. Equally an event-filled evening for you. Obviously, your major incident relegating you to the bottom half of the point scorers. But still, I think considering the severity of the incident, 11th place was certainly, good points. And for Innovision as well, definitely good for you as a team, in a sense, because you want to secure that second at least.
It was interesting race, both first and both second race. Was not the result that I had hoped for, especially after yesterday getting taken out by a back marker. I'd hoped for more luck today, but couldn't be. But in the end, I wanted to finish the race and get the necessary points for the team, because in the end, that's what I'm doing. I'm not here for the Drivers' Championship. So, P11 was the most I could get at after this.
Now, Innovision, in particular this season, had a lot of drivers in and out. We've had Parker, Loknowski, yourself, Sukas in, Scott Bennett in. In you and Sukas, I mean, there's been a lot of rumours swirling around that you two are very much in a position that Nordschen are kind of looking at you thinking, possible Super League pairing for next year. I'd imagine, is Innovision happy with you two as a driver pairing now? Are you two definitely going to be here for the next 5 rounds of the Super Cup?
I'm actually going to be racing tomorrow, but I cannot tell you anything for the future with Nordschule. We'll have to discuss some things and see what both parties want. But it's definitely an option, yeah.
Alright then, well, unlucky with your race, still good points. We hope to see you next time at Nürburgring.
Thank you.
And now we have the podium, well, couple of the podium sitters. I'd like to start off first with David Junt, who didn't race, but he is, of course, manager of Scuderia Basilia. A 12th place for Martin Bolgin, another Grand Slam for Giuseppe Ranieri. You really hit gold with that Italian, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely. It's like I was digging for orbs, and then I found gold with Giuseppe. So it's as I said, we continue that dream, I guess, with this fifth or maybe sixth continuous win. And I've been on the server. I've been watching the stream or listening in the background. I was kind of sorry when I heard them that we're making the championship kind of boring with this
That was
starting.
Lewis.
Yes. Well, it's kind of sorry, but kind of otherwise, of course, says, well, we can't do it on any other way. It's just how it goes with the pace. And
yeah, well, I mean, I guess Red Bull wouldn't be complaining when Sebastian Vettel was dominating Formula One. It's just, Ranieri has such a pace, doesn't he? But I mean, I guess this also brings up an interesting point in retaining Ranieri, because pretty much it's confirmed that he will be moving up into Super League. We have no idea with what team he shall be doing it, but the idea is he will be. I mean, Basilia with this result has actually moved into third into the constructors now, so more than you're expecting a third through the season. But how, do you have any drivers in mind to replace him if he leaves, or are you possibly even thinking of moving Basilia up into Super League if you get the chance?
this is an interesting question. I've been questioning myself several times. Also of course, for Giuseppe moving, and this is probably gonna happen, I would say. Maybe I should talk him to try this team or that team if I think someone good on the grid. But also for the team, I'm currently not sure, but my reasoning, I still think maybe Supercup again. As for drivers, I wouldn't be sure. I mean, even questioned myself to be doing something, but when I tried the car, I was absolutely nowhere. And I thought, okay, maybe not the best with the mod, but going up to Super League is also a big stepping stone, and it requires much more than just being there, saying the drivers, making them aware what when the race is on, maybe even giving them more information during the race. It's just much more. It has we shouldn't start, or it just gets too long about telling that, but it will be a big stepping stone, and I'm currently thinking about it, but also depends on the free slots, and we'll see about that later. I mean, as for the race we've seen today, it could have been so much different. I mean, Oscar was out at the first race. Giuseppe was leading, but actually I didn't think it was quite a fair for him, so I was really quite supporting the decision to restart, as I was on the same channel as Race Director, I think, and so I wasn't quite in favor for having a restart and having a clean race, a clean start, and giving everyone a new chance, like Oscar, like Martin. I've seen Martin retire the first start, now finished 12th, so I think it gave everyone a new start, and everyone could cool down and take his chance again. So I think it was a good decision.
Well, whatever your decision will be at the end of the season, well done on your win anyway. Well done on your Grand Slam, I should say. A third consecutive in a row, as I was saying with Giuseppe. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, thanks. And I look forward to congratulations to Giuseppe as well.
Right then, we move on now to our star of the race, personally, Dawe Tapper. Formula Challenge winner. Yesterday evening wasn't too good for you. And then you come back and do this. A podium for Bob Ball. You must be ecstatic with that result.
Yeah, it was actually pretty unexpected. Just both start one was pretty awesome, to be honest. I could keep my spot. I even won one, if I'm not mistaken. But start two was a bit not so good, and lost a few places. But Yeah, I had to fight back, and then I came into P5. I sort of fell into a gap. People in front of me were pulling away, and behind me they were falling back. And then the two in front of me started fighting again, and before I knew it, they hit each other, and I was in third. And from there on, it was pretty much just going full on and just trying to keep it up.
Very much.
But
Oh, sorry, gone.
oh no, never mind. Go on. Question.
Well, I'm just thinking, in the same respect that Giuseppe and Oscar, they're looking very much definitely to move on to the Super League. You're very much looking to move up into Supercup next year, and this. We talk about who will be in the Vodball seat next year. Do you consider yourself very much in the front seat at the moment to try and get into this team and to make as much of an impact to try and get in next year?
Well, it's not a matter of if I want to. I mean, the decision lies somewhere else. It's not that much in my hands. So it's not that I don't want to, but as I said, it's not my decision to make.
Well done on your podium anyway. And, well, I guess we'll see what happens in the future then. So, that wraps up round 13, Magny Cours. What an event it has been. Absolutely incident-filled throughout. And next time out we go to the Nürburgring, Lewis, which promises to have as much, if not more, tyre wear than here.
Yeah, also doing the Formula Challenge practice, I couldn't believe how much tyre wear that was, but that is going to be a good race to watch strategy-wise. This race is interesting. I do stick to my guns. The championship may be a bit boring, but I will back up with Rainieri that you can't help being good. There's nothing you can do about it. You're good. You'll win. That's the thing. It's sometimes a bit unfortunate for other people. But Rainieri is one of the great drivers that we have at the moment, and I'd like to see how well he's going to go in Nürburgring, and what's going to happen with the absence of Oscar Hardwick. That will be something interesting to see, but that's in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time, so you've got Super League to look forward to before then. Well, sorry, James has timed out and has left. But nevertheless, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be back with Supercup in Nürburgring for round 14 of the GPVWC Championship. But to look forward to tomorrow at the same time as this, you have the Super League, which promises to be hopefully a great race. You'll just have to look forward to that. Nevertheless, in 2 weeks' time, we shall be back with more Supercup, and we'll see how well we have Giuseppe Rainieri coping with the departure of Oscar Hardwick for that event. But James is actually back, so hello, James.
I am. I've had to switch rotors there. That was close. I would also actually, on the end of this broadcast, I'd also like to wish the very best of luck to all those teenagers, young adults who are like myself tomorrow, or indeed in 5 days' time, going to be picking up their A-level or GCSE results from all the GPWC team here, myself, Lewis and Dave, and everyone else here. We'd like to wish you the best of luck, whether you're sim racers or just watching. And regardless of the results, we'd also love it if you join us in 2 weeks' time at the Nürburgring, or indeed tomorrow when the Super League will be on. And I think it'll certainly lighten up your evening, whether you had good or the results that you wished for, or what you didn't wish for. So yes, from us here, Lewis, myself, and cameraman Dave Carr-Smith, it's a very warm goodbye.